By the third trimester, you have probably hit the point where everyone has advice for you. Eat this, don't eat that, walk more, rest more, sleep only on your left side. Take this class, pack this exact bag, freeze these meals, bounce on the ball, drink the tea, and after a while, it all starts to blur together. That is the part nobody really talks about. Not just how much advice pregnant women get, but how exhausting it is to figure out which advice actually matters and which advice is just filling up mental space you don't have. So, in this video, I'm going to name 7 pregnancy tips that get repeated constantly. Sounds helpful and can quietly waste your time or energy if you let them. And more importantly, I'll show you what matters more, because that is a part that actually helps you feel ready. The first one is eat for 2. This advice had been around forever, and it sounds generous and supportive, but the actual clinical picture is much more specific than that. The expert says that the extra calories needed during pregnancy are roughly 340 additional calories in the second trimester and about 450 in the third. That is real. That is not nothing. But it is also not the free-for-all that eat for 2 implies. What matters more than eating more is eating well. Your energy, your iron, your blood sugar, and how your body handles recovery later are all shaped more by the quality of what you eat than by the quantity. Eat for 2 sounds encouraging, but nourish yourself well is actually the more useful instruction. The second is the pressure to stop moving because you're pregnant. If your provider has told you to slow down for a specific medical reason, that is a different conversation entirely. But for healthy, uncomplicated pregnancies, the evidence does not support treating pregnancy like a fragile condition. Again, the literature is clear that regular physical activity is safe and beneficial for most pregnant women and does not raise the risk of miscarriage, low birth weight, or preterm delivery. Walking helps with stiffness and blood circulation. Stretching helps with tightness. Movement helps with swelling, mood, and sleep. Just rest is not always the right call. For some women, it actually makes everything feel worse. The third is the idea that every pregnancy rule deserves the same level of anxiety. This creates so much unnecessary stress. A lot of first-time moms are trying so hard to follow every guideline perfectly that they end up in low-level panic over things that need much more context. Sleep position is a great example. If you wake up on your back, the guidance is calm. Side sleeping later in pregnancy is recommended, but waking up on your back is not a crisis. Just shift back to your side and move on. Caffeine is another one. Many women are more stressed by the coffee than helped by avoiding it. Expert says moderate caffeine under 200 milligrams a day does not appear to be a major contributor to miscarriage or even preterm birth. Now, context matters here because some things do deserve a hard line. ACOG is clear that there is no known safe amount of alcohol during pregnancy. So, the lesson is not ignore everything. The lesson is that not all rules carry the same weight, and treating them like they do will exhaust you. The fourth is believing that the more you Google, the more prepared you'll feel. I understand why moms do this. You feel something unfamiliar, you have a question, Google is right there, and searching feels productive. But most of the time, Google does not make women feel prepared. It makes them feel scattered. Now, you have 12 tabs open, 3 conflicting opinions, 2 stories that scared you, and someone in a forum saying something completely unhinged with way too much confidence. That is not preparation. That is mental clutter. Real preparation is getting clear on a smaller set of things that actually matter. Your provider's guidance, your warning signs, your birth preferences, your support plan, and what recovery might realistically look like. That is where your mental energy belongs. The fifth is thinking that preparing for the baby is the same as preparing for postpartum. They have the crib, they have the clothes, the diapers, the strollers, and the baby monitor. And then postpartum hits, and they realize almost none of that prepared them for what their own body would need. Being ready for a baby and being ready for your own recovery are not the same thing. You can have a beautiful nursery and still feel completely unprepared for bleeding, soreness, limited mobility, emotional shifts, sleep deprivation, or the million little questions that surface the moment you are home. The nursery is for the baby. The recovery plan is for you. The sixth is the belief that if you prepare enough, you can control how your birth will go. I understand why women wanted to believe this. Preparation is powerful, genuinely, but it is powerful because it helps you respond better, not because it guarantees a specific outcome. You can prepare well and still need an induction. You can prepare well and still have a C-section. It means preparation was never supposed to give you control over everything. It was supposed to help you stay steadier when things change. And the seventh, and honestly the biggest waste of time of all, is treating every tip, every task, and every piece of advice like they all deserve the same level of attention. Once everything is on the same level, your brain gets overloaded. You end up spending the same mental energy deciding on baby soap as you do on whether you know your warning signs or whether you have a postpartum support plan. Everything is not equal. The women who tend to feel most grounded going into birth are not the ones who learned the most random facts. They are the ones who got clear on what actually mattered. That is where clarity starts to come back. If this video helped you cut through some of that noise, I made a free third trimester prep checklist specifically for first-time moms. It covers everything worth actually handling before your due date: what to finalize, what to set up at home, feeding prep, birth decisions, and what to know about recovery. No fluff, 5 sections. It's completely free and it's linked in the description below. And one more thing before I close this out. I talk about tip 5, that preparing for a baby is not the same as preparing for postpartum. Nowhere is that gap more painful than in C-section recovery. 1 in 3 births end up in C-section. Most aren't planned. And most of those, moms go home without a real plan for what the next 6 weeks are supposed to look like. If you want to be ready for that possibility before it happens, whether your birth is planned or not, Strong Start is a 6-week nurse-guided recovery experience you can join during pregnancy. Clear weekly guidance, personal email support, and practical recovery tools. And because I provide personal email support, I only work with 5 moms per delivery week cohort. That is how I keep support real. The link is in the description below. Here is what I want you to take from this video. You don't need more noise. You need more clarity. You don't need to do everything. You need to know what matters most and let go of the rest. If this video helped you think a little more clearly, subscribe and share it with another first-time pregnant mom who is drowning in advice and needs someone to cut through it. And next, go watch these, because this video will tell you exactly which symptoms actually deserves your attention, so you stop worrying about everything equally. I'm Cherry, and I will see you in the next one.